Welcome to week 22 of the Walk the Plank podcast here, taking a deep dive behind the scenes of a Perry Athletic Department. We appreciate everybody joining us. Joined here by my co-host, as always, Gene Winters. Thanks for being here, Gene.
Yeah, another exciting week. It seems like winter sports just started, and now we're getting into that postseason part of the schedule.
It's definitely it's a grind. It's the longest season that we have between fall, winter, and spring from an athletic standpoint. But we are here. It's February 6th today when we're shooting this, and we're certainly entering that postseason run for all of our teams. We had the draw for girls basketball. The draw for boys is this week. Our wrestling team is participating in the state dual wrestling tournament. Our swim teams, we'll talk about momentarily, are competing at sectionals tomorrow on Friday. So here we go. The regular season is just about over, and we're ready for the postseason to begin.
Yeah, a couple more, conference division champions within the conference.
Yep.
Plenty to talk about during this week 22.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm joined here as well by Coach Scheider, our boys and girls swim coach. Thanks for being here, Coach.
Great. How are you?
Good. On the eve of sectionals here, so it's a Thursday afternoon. Sectionals start tomorrow. Our team swims out at Spire. Let's just talk about, before we get into that sectionals and what we're excited about from that standpoint, just sort of recapping the last month. We had you on earlier this season, and we got into some of the records that Brody has had. Noelle Griffiths had a great year. Our girls won our 6th CVC championship in a row. So you don't ever want to be the first one not to win it, right? There's always that pressure. Like, you don't want to be that team that doesn't win it.
That's right.
Girls basketball just won 8 out of 9. So they've sort of lived. Last year we didn't win it in girls. So it'll happen. Don't worry. No pressure. It's okay if it doesn't happen. But we did win it this year for the 6th row. So let's just recap, since we've had you on last, some of the highlights of the team and what we're looking for.
Like you said, the girls took their 6th in a row CVC title. The boys were runner-up, which isn't bad with only 6 guys. So that Beechwood team's pretty fast.
Yeah.
Since the last time, Brody has broken every record in the pool.
Okay.
So he was fighting for the 100 breaststroke the last 2 years and got it at the last meet. So it's really exciting. With sectionals tomorrow, we have Brody is ranked 1st in the 50 free. He's 3rd in the 100 fly behind those 2 Beechwood boys he's been chasing for 3 years. Noelle is, I believe, 8th in the 50 free and 6th in the 100 free. She's had a great year.
Yeah.
If she continues on the trajectory she's going, we'll have another state qualifier, I think.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, I will mention that you mentioned the boys team finishing 2nd. With 6 swimmers, that's a pretty impressive feat to go against other teams with full lineups and so on. And obviously Beechwood's in our division, and there's some really good swim teams out there in the Chagrin Valley Conference. And so for them to only have 6 and to be led by Brody, and Jonathan, we had Jonathan on a few weeks ago on the show, and so they put forward a great effort there over at Hawken that day.
Yeah, CVC is tough. Almost all of those teams are going to be at state meet.
Yeah.
I mean, when we get down to Canton for that last hurrah, it's right in this cluster area. Like, the state champions for boys and girls are 15-minute ride.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't know. So the state championships for swimming take place at Canton McKinley High School at their natatorium, and so it's right down the road. So we're going to keep you posted as we go here on this trek from sectionals, then to districts, then from districts to state. Yes. And it's a fun experience. You're packed in there like sardines. It's tight because you got everybody coming from all over the state. But Northeast Ohio. Is it like cross country? Because when we had Coach Thomas on in the fall, a lot of schools going to the state meet in Columbus, you see high finishes from Northeast Ohio. So is Northeast Ohio a hotbed similar to cross country for swim, or are we going to see a lot of top 5 or 6 finishes from Northeast Ohio? Not to say Columbus or Cincinnati isn't strong, but is Northeast Ohio pretty much dominant?
Yeah, right. I mean, on the podium every year is probably 2 or 3 Northeast Ohio, every event.
Yeah.
It's kind of Cleveland versus Cincinnati.
Okay.
When we get down to the final stretch, so it's a lot of fun.
All right.
And does it help you and your swimmers know that, hey, we're going to see Beechwood, Chagrin, or Hawken, and all these other schools, and we already know what their best might be.
Right. And so we're preparing from day one, and we tell that to the kids again and again. Like, this group right here, you're going to see again in 2 weeks, and you're going to see them again next week. Because everybody in our conference is that strong.
Yeah, pretty darn good.
And going into Spire this weekend, is there how do you practice this week? Is it, these are times I want you guys to hit, these are the times that I think you're going to have to hit to advance? How does a practice week going into district?
We spend a lot of time early in the season talking about goals and where they're going to be. And now this week they wrote every one of their goals up on the board, so everybody knows what everyone's shooting for. Couple that we know are going to move on to the next level. They're still doing their rough practices, but everybody else, we're tapering back down. We're doing 25 and 12 and a half sprints at practice, 20 times. Actually, is what we did yesterday, and we'll do 10 of them today.
Right.
Just so that everybody knows where they are stepping into the pool tomorrow.
That's awesome. So you're always trying to peak at that end, and therefore the taper down means you're scaling back a little bit. Like we're not swimming 10,000 yards a day anymore, or anything like that.
No,
we're just trying to make sure we're at peak at the right time.
Right. So they're still going hard. They get a lot more rest though,
Yeah.
so that they can do it again and again.
Right.
Now, Spire is a place you guys have already swam at this year. I'm guessing in years past too. Is there any advantage to knowing the pool?
Oh, sure. Nobody's out of their comfort zone when they get there, because we've been there 3 or 4 times already this year. So everybody knows what it's like, knows what to expect when they're there, just with 580 people.
And I think we talked about it the last time you were here. Like the swim conditions. I think you mentioned CSU being one of the top swim places. Aspire, obviously, we know what they bring. So does this fit right into top 10, top 15? Like where?
Yeah, Spire is a world-class aquatic facility. It's the exact same pool, just remade from the Chinese Olympics, dropped down in Ashtabula. So it's really awesome place to swim in. So that definitely helps. Gone are the days of old when sectionals was at 6, 7 different pools. Perry used to host.
Right.
And
right.
so,
long time ago.
trying to figure out, because you have no idea what the other ones are doing. So, but now with Meet Mobile, we can check where we are at Spire and where the other one is at University of Akron. And
Okay. And they combine those, and they have to take the best times.
So
we won't know right away if some kids have advanced or not.
Right.
We have a good idea, but we're not guaranteed anything until we get those results.
Right. So if have anybody in the top 10, it's a high likelihood that they're going. But we get 2 automatics from each place, and then the next 26 overall.
Okay.
So
do you have, not to put pressure on you or the kids, but do you have a number in mind of, I'm expecting X amount of athletes to advance next week?
Most definitely,
Okay.
yes. So if everything goes according to plan, all 6 boys will go, and then we're going to have 7 girls, I think, go.
Okay. That's great.
Fingers
Right there, fingers crossed. And we always we always represent at districts very well. We're in between 9 to 15 kids each and every year. So hats off. We run a great program, and we wish them nothing but the best. So if you're looking at times, do you look at like last year's sectional times to compare, what we think we're going to need to get out, or are you looking at like this year's times? Because this year is this year and last year is last year.
Kind of both. So on the first parent meeting we have in middle October, everybody gets a packet, and in that packet is last year's qualifying times.
Okay.
So we use that to help everybody make their goals at the beginning of the season. But then along the way, swimmeet.com has a ranking of each district and the state. So you can kind of see how everything's coming together.
Playing out.
Yeah.
And then, as far as districts then would be at Cleveland State, as we've said, that will be next Friday.
Next week,
it's
Friday.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
I told my wife weeks ago. We'll
Right,
have to wait.
right. Can't happen, right? Okay. So hopefully we'll get as many swimmers out there, and I actually like going down there, and it's a good facility to host the districts. They do a good job. Is there another district in our area as well that we have? So that's the Northeast Ohio, and then we've got 3 others. You've got Northwest, Southeast, and Central?
Central East combined, I think.
Central and East,
but
because there's not many
Yeah.
swim teams from the East District. Okay. All right, Coach Scheider, thanks for joining us. Really exciting time of year. I know it's sort of like Christmas for you guys, the day before sectionals, what you've been working for. Since you mentioned mid-October parent meeting, are you happy with the progress of the team since then? You start out, and here we are almost 4 months later, and it's sort of like, all right, it's go time. Go hard or go home.
That's right. 2 hours practice every single day for 4 months.
Right.
So
it's just Saturdays too.
And
people don't realize you need to swim every day. That's a craziness. So I give you guys a lot of credit. You work hard. The kids work hard. It's certainly a sport. I would sink after 25 yards. So I know we're ready to go, and appreciate you joining us today, and best of luck.
You got it.
This
Thank you very
weekend.
much.
We'll update everybody here in next week's pod as to where we're at and how many we've got down in Cleveland State.
Sounds good.
Okay, thanks, Coach Scheider. Appreciate your time. He's off to practice. We've got ice day today, or snow day, whatever you want to call it. We're not in school, but we're practicing. Our varsity teams are practicing today, and so I know they're going to get after it this afternoon as well. Speaking of practice, we're going to call up our male athlete of the week because he's got to get to practice as well here this afternoon. Nick Meckenbauer from boys basketball joining us. Thanks for being here, Nick. Congratulations. You are our male athlete of the week. If you didn't know, very exciting news. You get a free meal deal at Dairy Queen and a Blizzard. So we thank Dairy Queen, as always, for their support of our Athlete of the Week program. Marie and the crew down at the Perry DQ are always there for us and come through. So enjoy your meal. Welcome to the show. Congratulations again on being the Athlete of the Week. Boys basketball, we're 12-5 right now. We're number 8 in the News Herald, top of the crop. We're in, I think, the 8th spot now, in 7th or 8th in the RPI in our region. So I know if you don't know the way sectional and districts work, very similar to football now, where the coaches don't vote any longer. It's all computer generated. Point-wise, we get points for winning games. And we're, again, 7th or 8th out of 46 teams in the Northeast Ohio district. So our draw will be this coming week. But so there's our background information right now. How's the season going so far? How are you happy with things from a team perspective and individual perspective on how the season's gone?
Well, yeah, we're obviously happy. 12-5 is, pretty good. And, but really, playoff success is what determines how the season goes. So.
Right.
As I say, last year's success helped fuel you guys for this year. Now, knowing what to expect once the playoffs begin.
Yeah. So last year, obviously went 3 rounds deep. So we're that's kind of like the goal to get past there now. Just setting like a benchmark for us.
And we've had, of our 5 losses, 2 of them were against the same team. So Hawken, very talented team in the Chagrin Valley Conference. So right now we're not in play for a CVC championship, unfortunately. But that's not taking anything away from the season. A 12-5 record and being that highly ranked. Right? It's strange how the RPI works. We're ranked above Hawken in the RPI. We've lost to them twice. But they've had some other losses as well. They play a really, really tough schedule. But so, we'll see where we go postseason. But as Nick said, that the postseason success is now sort of our focus. We know CVC's not in it. Hawken's going to win it. Hats off to them. They had a great year within our league at least. And now we're focused on. Let's talk about our next upcoming game here. So come off a game this past Tuesday. Against Lakeside out at Jefferson. So we were back-to-back Tuesday evenings in Jefferson. Lakeside had some issues with their gymnasium from the first blizzard or snowfall that we got back in November and can't play there. So that's why we're out at Jefferson. But let's talk about that game. Specifically, that was up and down game. It's sort of started out like an NBA All-Star game. Not a lot of defense, scoring everywhere. They were up. We were just up and down. How is it to play in that type of a game versus, the previous game, which we'll talk about as well with Chagrin Falls, when it was a 3-point game in the 40s and 50s?
Yeah, so obviously our team is, we have a lot of different dynamics, scorers, defenders. So each game it starts at its own pace, but sometimes it changes by the finish of the game. So you never really know how it's going to go.
And I know when we had Coach on, he wanted to get back to defense because I think we had it right after Maybe it was the second Hawken game. There was a game where, or maybe Harvey, it doesn't matter, but you guys gave up a lot of points. You're going back and forth with a team. Has there been more of a point of defense now trying to, get you guys back to where you were at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, we've definitely been working a lot. We've put in some zones too to kind of disrupt the offenses. So just mixing that in and then continuing to work on, defensive principles is going to help.
And I know this is going to sound negative, so take it however you want, but you start 7-1, 5-4 in your last 9. Is there something that you can pinpoint to where you guys might have struggled that you're working to get back to, or something that coaches pointed out to you guys that, hey, we got to tighten this up if we want to get to that 4th round of the postseason?
I think it's just all the fatigue on people's bodies at this point, because obviously basketball is, running up and down. You're bound to get injured or have an injury nagging all season. So most of the time by the end of the season, everyone's kind of banged up.
Definitely. And, it's a physical game. Everybody thinks, oh, it's basketball. But if you watch it out there, and, they're very physical, especially you get underneath. You're going to get fouled. You're going to have to, make some hay at the line. And it's just a physical game. And we're going to play West Geauga here coming up tomorrow on Friday. And then next week, speaking of being tired, we're going to play 4 games in 5 days, a very almost NBA. Gene, you'll know the NBA schedule well, like the NBA-esque. Like we're going to play at Lake Catholic on Tuesday. We're going to host South on Wednesday and host Bristol on Friday, and Madison is senior night on Saturday. So we've got 4 games next week, 3 of them at home, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Come out and support the team. Saturday night especially is against Madison. That's a fun game, senior night. And then we'll know where we're at from a postseason standpoint on Sunday. But that said, that West Geauga game is huge. West Geauga right now is in, I think, 5th or 6th spot. We beat them at home. Now we go on the road. What are we looking for out of this West Geauga team on Friday night, and how are we going to come out of there? It's hard to win in Chesterland on the road. They've got a big student section. That's going to be part of it. They're going to be loud. I've seen some pictures. I've seen some social media stuff. It's going to be loud, and they're going to have a little bit of a home court advantage. How are we looking for Friday?
So, obviously, we're going to try and set the tone early to keep their student section out of it.
Right.
And then, if we can keep that up the whole game and keep the crowd quiet, I think we can come out of there with a win.
Do you get more satisfaction, taking an opponent out of it on their home court than, maybe playing here at Perry?
I think it goes both ways, because I think Friday nights here are really nice. But then Friday nights on the road, when we can do that, I'd say it's about the same.
Yeah. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun environment. It'll be a fun high school basketball setting for a big-time game. Again, no CVC. They're not in the CVC realm either, but it is going to be a big game from pretty much who wins this game will have the higher seed on for a quick turnaround on Sunday's meeting for that postseason. So I know we're going to go after it and try to get a win. I mentioned senior night next Saturday, February 15th. That's an afternoon tip. Because we'll talk about the girls basketball playing that night, and they're in a sectional home game. But so 3 o'clock JV, 4:30 varsity. Senior night, we've got 4 seniors on the team. How long have you guys been playing together? How long have you been involved in basketball? From you've been since rec basketball all the way up, or when did you start with the sport?
Yeah, I started playing rec probably 4th grade, maybe something like that.
Okay.
And then I think we've all been together since 7th grade when the school team started.
Right.
When we had Coach on earlier this month of January, he talked about the journey that the 4 of you seniors have taken, and obviously your journey a little bit different than Malone and Vince's. So just talk about, from when you became a freshman, playing, JV to getting that senior role, like how has that journey been for you?
Yeah, so it's obviously hard to not be where you want to be in terms of varsity. So I played JV, and then last year I was on varsity, but I didn't play as much as I wanted to. But now it's really nice to have the 4 seniors all starting and all getting big minutes and leading everybody. It's
awesome, and it's one reason you're sitting in the seat. Honestly, when we ask coaches for players of the week, it's just more your attitude throughout the entire process. As a freshman, you're playing freshman. As a sophomore, you're playing JV. like you said, last year as a junior, still playing some JV and some varsity, not getting what you want. But you know what? I saw Nick Meckenbauer, work hard. I'm in the field house on a May Wednesday night, and you're in there shooting foul shots, and it's May, and the season's over, and you're getting ready. You're putting the time in. You're putting the effort in, and you've earned your spot. Nothing's given in any of our programs, especially at the varsity level. Coaches are going to play who they think is going to give them the best chance to win at that varsity level, and so nothing's given, and you've earned it. And I'm extremely proud of you from that standpoint, because it could have been easy for you to, at some point, that sophomore, junior year, when you're frustrated, you're like, all right, I'm done. But you saw it through. You continue to work your tail off, and very impressed with that, Nick. So best of luck on the rest of the year. And anything else, Gene, from that standpoint? I guess I didn't have a question. It was more of a statement. But congratulations on a fantastic way to sort of persevere and see through it. And now you're seeing those dividends pay off. And like you said, you've started every single game this year, and significant contributor to what that 12-5 record and the success we've had.
My last, how has it been playing for Coach Ice? Obviously, a guy you've been around, a guy that seems to be a straight shooter when we had him here. And how has it been playing with him? From freshman and being around the team to being with him the last two.
Yeah, it's great. He really, he's really honest with you, and he makes sure you knows what he wants out of you. So he'll be hard on you if he thinks you can be good. So it's good to have that.
All right, Nick, thanks again for joining us. Now, before we let you out of here, we're just going to get to know you a little bit better with some questions. We'll see. No pressure. There's no wrong answers here as we go. What is your favorite food?
I would say good cheeseburger.
Good cheeseburger. Homemade, or a certain restaurant you're looking to get it from? Any good cheeseburger? Checkers?
Checkers.
I like Checkers is a good call. That's my personal favorite. How about your favorite subject in school?
I like history.
Okay. That's a Coach Ice subject, or, hats off to the social studies department. We get a lot of math and science answers, so that's good. How about your favorite movie, or if not a movie, then like a television show or series that you're into?
I like Breaking Bad a lot.
Okay, that's a good one. Favorite memory from Perry athletics? So that can be anything from high school, middle school, even rec or travel, anything that you were in.
I would say our Columbus trip last year. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was. Those are always good to have. Good team bonding, good memories. You'll never forget that kind of stuff. Any hobbies? You're involved with basketball. I talked about you working year-round at your craft here. Any hobbies away from athletics?
I like golfing.
Okay, golfing. Good. Can you beat AJ, I hope?
Oh, I don't
Come
know.
on, yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe not now. Visit any place in the world. Money's not an object. Where is Nick going?
I don't know exactly where, but I'd just say a nice beach.
Okay.
Just like a private beach.
Private beach, nice water, clear water, warm. Okay, sounds good right about now in February 6th here as we sit here. Nick, really appreciate your time. I know you got to get over to practice here. We want to make you late. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations on a great year so far, and we wish you guys nothing but the best as we go. We'll update everybody once we have the draw and we end up see where we're going. All right, thanks, Nick. Nick Meckenbauer, our male athlete of the week. Just a great story, great year so far for our boys, and he's been a big part of it.
Yeah, 12-5 record, as you mentioned. 4 or 5 games remaining, 2 on the road, 1 coming up Friday, but then to close out with 3 straight at home is going to be a nice way to be here, to be around your home crowd, feed off of that, and close out the season the right way.
Yeah, and it'll be fun to recognize our seniors as well when we get the that senior night. So we get to recognize them. It's a special evening, and then to play Madison on top of it. I know it'll be hopefully a packed house, even though it's in the middle of the afternoon. Come on out. We recognize our seniors in between that JV and varsity contest, and then our girls will be there that night. So it'll be a busy day, and I think we potentially have middle school basketball here that morning. So it'll be another 12-hour day here, but that's what it's all about. But let's move on. We're going to bring up our female athlete of the week, Macy. Macy Freeman, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I think this will be our first. Macy is a freshman here at Perry High School. She's part of our gymnastics team. We've talked about our gymnasts each and every week, trying to give updates. You guys are all over the place at different tournaments and things. But I think first sister combo that we've had for
Yeah.
her sister was athlete of the week in the fall. So now it's your turn. We're going to ask you some questions here and get after the gymnastics piece. Let's just start out with some background info on you. How long have you been doing gymnastics, and how did you get involved? And let's just tell your story a little bit about where it all started for you.
I started gymnastics when I was like 2, so I've been doing it for a really long time.
Okay. And all of it out at Legs in Menor? Is that where you started, or you just transitioned to there?
I've always been there.
Always been at Legs. Okay. So again, those of you who don't know, I think we've tried to say it each and every week. Just a little shout out to you guys, because we don't have gymnastics is a unique sport from a high school perspective. We don't have the equipment here. You can't practice here, unfortunately. I wish we could, but you're practicing several nights a week. You're traveling to practice, and then you're traveling all over literally the state of Ohio to compete. How is that obviously different than just walking into Perry High School from class ending at 2:30 and then walking over to a basketball or a swim practice? How is it having to go out there and travel to a practice? Is it a grind? Or are you just used to it if you've been at it since 2 years old?
I feel like I'm used to it because I've been doing it for so long, and I've had the same schedule for gymnastics since probably like 5th grade.
Okay.
So I'm kind of used to it by now.
Okay. And what is, give a little bit of background on a weekly? Are you guys going 2 days a week, 3, 5, 6? What are you doing on a weekly basis for gymnastics, whether high school or otherwise?
I'd go 4 days a week for 4 hours, and then I go an extra day for an extra hour.
Okay, so that's 17 hours, quick math there, a week in the gym. And now, talking to Coach Arps a little bit, you took second in the all-around, your first 2 high school meets against powerhouse teams in our district like Brecksville and Hudson and Strongsville. I mean, huge schools. And if you know anything about, like back in another lifetime when I first started as the athletic director at West Geauga, we hosted district gymnastics and things like that. Brecksville was awesome then. They still are now. They're still very good teams. How is that competing against that type of competition? Or do you see these girls in other places outside of high school gymnastics?
I've seen a few of them at like club meets, but I also didn't really know what to expect because it was my first high school meet. So I was kind of nervous, but I was glad I could go out there and kind of place well so that it could boost my confidence for districts and then hopefully states.
Okay.
Is it just getting through that first routine, then you calm down that first meet, or was it the whole day, everything that you competed in?
Every event I was a little bit nervous for, but after the fact, for my second meet, I calmed down a little bit and it was a little easier.
Yeah, that first meet was the high school challenge in downtown Cleveland. You placed second overall behind the Padua, a girl who's like a 2-time state placer champion, whatever. I mean, to come in second to her, no small feat. So it's a great start to things. What are some of your goals as we move in here? We have our last home meet at Legs on February 16th. So come on out, and see the girls. That is a Sunday, I believe. A lot of our meets are on that Sunday afternoon. So out at Legs on that February 16th, and then we're jumping right into that district meet, which will be at Hudson. What are some of your goals to close out the season here as we're finishing up these last few weeks?
My goal is to definitely qualify for states. Okay. And then when I transition back to club, I want to hopefully qualify for nationals again too.
Okay. So have you qualified for nationals in the past? How does that work?
Yeah, I did last year.
Okay. First time?
Yeah, it was my first time.
And then the club scene, so those of you who don't know, just like any sport almost out there now, there's AAU basketball, there's JO volleyball, there's travel softball. You're very familiar with that. And baseball, so on. There's club gymnastics as well. So how long have you been doing that, and what is that? I guess they're just like every sport, there's rules to when you can start or where you need to end club to get into high school and all that kind of stuff. But how has the club been? Have you enjoyed your experience in the club scene over the years?
Yeah, I have. It's taught me a lot. Even just as a person, it's like disciplined me and stuff. Yeah. But I really enjoy it. Okay. And I think I've been competing for 8 years.
8 years. Pretty impressive.
Now on the club scene, is it by grade, by birth year, or are you like now lumped in a high school group, or do you stay within your own age group?
It's just by level, so it's kind of whatever you can do. It doesn't matter your age, just it matters like what skills you have and if you're ready for the levels.
And for the events that you compete in, is there one that you like more than the other? Is there, your favorite event?
I like beam. I feel like beam used to be like my least favorite because it's kind of scary sometimes. But it feels good when you like make a good beam routine and you like hit it really well.
And then, so that, just to, again, clue in everybody who may not know about gymnastics, they probably watch the Summer Olympics every 4 years, and then they sort of move on. But it really is fun because you've got all these different events. You have beam, we have floor, vault, and bars. Did I get them all? Okay, I figured that was good. And then there's an all-around, which takes all of those combined scores, correct? So are you looking to qualify in all of those, or just the all around and you get to do them all? Or do you have one picked out as like, all right, I really need to get to state or want to get to state in this particular event?
I really think I could get to state in floor, honestly.
Okay.
And then I feel like it would also be fun to qualify in the all around.
Okay.
Now, how do you decide, or I'm guessing probably with coach as well, on a floor routine, a song, the whole thing to get you ready? How does that come about?
So obviously the skill is just I work over time, and then like your floor music you get to pick out, which I actually have Marley's old floor routine now because I really liked it and she's done using it.
Yeah.
And this lady Dawn, she choreographed it for me. She was really nice.
Okay. Awesome. And how is it competing with your sister, or being on the same team as your sister? You're a freshman, she's a junior. So you've got one more year after this to do that. Has that been a fun experience for you guys?
Yeah, I really like being on the same team as her. She's very motivational, and she always brings fun energy to the team and the meets.
Yeah, I'm not shocked by that. That's what Coach Horsfall said from the fall, and got her in your chair here in the fall for being that way for our cheerleading program. So I'm glad you guys get to experience that as sisters. It's something that it doesn't happen a lot where you get to do things together like that. So good family fun there.
Do you use the motivation of going against her, to help fuel you a little bit, to have the bragging rights, or is it just, what, she's my sister and I'm rooting her on?
I mean, I'm always cheering her on. I feel like track is her sport and gymnastics is mine. So we kind of just get along with that.
Good. Well, again, our last home meet's coming up here Sunday, February 16th, 1 p.m. out at Legs there on Menor, just off of Heisley Road. So I encourage as many people to come out to that as possible. I'm looking forward to coming out to the district meet, following up and following your success, and we wish you nothing but the best. And hope you get all your goals, and hopefully you're going to make me travel down to Columbus and watch you. That's the plan. I would love to do that, and we wish you nothing but the best. However, before we let you go, same questions for Nick. We'll just get to know Macy a little bit better here. Favorite food?
I like any fruit, honestly.
Any fruit?
Yeah.
Okay. There's not really a fruit restaurant, so I can't follow up with that. How about subject in school?
I like English or science.
English or science, okay. Favorite movie or television series or show?
Right now I'm watching a show called The Lost, which I really like. My friend recommended it, so.
Okay, excellent.
The one from the early 2000s?
I think so,
Yeah.
Lost, okay.
Yep.
I never finished that one. I got to go back and finish it up. With 17 hours of practice and your schoolwork, I don't know how you have time to watch that, but 4 days a week, 4 hours a day is pretty insane. Pretty awesome, too. Hobby away from gymnastics or any other sports that you're in?
I like to read a lot, and I like to do crafts and just hang out with my family.
Awesome. And then favorite, and you're only a freshman, but any favorite athletic, again, it can be from club gymnastics or any time that, K through 12, K through 9 in your case, that you've experienced?
I really enjoyed going to nationals last year because we took kind of a vacation to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
And also just hanging out with my friends at practice.
Okay,
really
so
fun.
nationals were in Myrtle Beach. Are they always in Myrtle Beach, or they move them around?
It's different every year.
Okay. All right, and if you could visit any place in the world, money's not an object, where is Macy Freeman going?
I would go to Italy for sure.
Italy, okay.
Yeah.
Looks pretty cool over there. All right, Macy, we really appreciate the time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Don't forget, we got your free certificate here for a meal deal in a blizzard. Use that whenever you'd like. And we'll be following you here on your journey on to the districts and state level. Hopefully we'll see you in Columbus.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks. Macy, as only a freshman, obviously has some great numbers right off the bat, some great success right off the bat early in her high school career. So we're excited to follow her and see where she goes.
That's the part. You come out in your first meet, get a second place, and then you set the bar that high to for the rest of the season and have your benchmark right
Yeah.
away.
It's pretty darn impressive to come out in that first meet like that, and you're competing against the state level, girl from Padua, and to come in second. So looking forward to it. How it goes for her over the next 2 to 3 weeks, and hopefully, like I said, we're on our way to Columbus to support her.
Yep.
We'll transition over to the middle school minute. Here we are. Mindy Allen, our middle school AD, is joining us. Mindy, appreciate the time. I know you've got a game to get to today, so
Yeah.
but we appreciate you coming in here and just giving us some updates on middle school athletics and where we're at. Similar to high school, we're sort of in close to that postseason. Some of our sports are already done. They've had their postseason run, and we'll talk about it all today. So I'll turn it over to you. How are things going down at the middle school?
Good. It's been a minute, so I got a lot to go over.
Right. Yeah, it's been probably 3 or 4 weeks since we've had you.
Because
So.
I think a couple times I was subbing and not able to come in.
Yes.
So, so we do have a lot because January we started our girls CVC tournament, which we were fortunate enough to host. I say fortunate.
Yeah.
We offered to, but I don't know that anybody else wanted to.
Right. Yeah.
But it
Seems
works
to be the theme.
Yeah, it works
in our
out really
league.
good. I mean, not just for us, but I think the CVC, because we've got nice facilities, and to be able to host the championship games for the middle schoolers in the main gym.
Yeah.
We were able to play music,
Yep.
do the national anthem, introduce the teams and the starters, and then it was nice. Matt Herman came in and did the
Yeah.
announcing and did
Matt
a
does a great
great
job.
job for us.
Yeah, shout out to Matt. He does a great job. He fills in. Where we need him. He's our pinch hitter. He's done several high school games for us last night. I had to do the announcing last night. Matt's like, "Why didn't you call me?" And I said, "Matt, it was like 15 minutes. I
Yeah.
just had to do it. That's the way it was. You weren't going to get out here in time." But
Yeah.
it's fun for those middle school kids to hear their name.
Yes.
And it sort of gets them ready, hopefully, for that high school experience. But you run a first class event out here, and I think all the schools that were here were really happy with how it was run.
Yeah, and the energy's great because
Yeah.
you're bringing in, that on that Saturday we had 6 CVC schools here, and so you're going from a 7th grade game, of 2 different schools, and then as they're finishing up, you've already got 2 more schools coming in. So the energy in the gym was.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was better. I hate to say this, and
Yeah.
it's sad. It was better than most of our girls' basketball games.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a packed house for a couple of those games, and 2 of the 3 games that Saturday, they were close. They were close games. And then our 7th grade girls got to play the following Friday before our boys' game. And just to give them a great shout out, beginning of the season tryouts, we had 7 or 8 girls try out for the 7th grade team. We didn't have enough to cut for either group, but we had 5 girls for 7th grade, and they were the only team in the CVC to finish undefeated. There were games
With
where
5 girls.
with 5
Yeah.
girls there
no
were
rest.
no
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 subs.
no the way they got their rest was if they needed a break, then there was 4 girls on the floor and they continued to play. And they had a couple of close games, but those girls have been playing together with Danielle Alberts, Snowden now, with Danielle Snowden coaching them since they were in 3rd grade. So they've got some good chemistry there.
Yeah.
They're going to be a lot of fun. They pass the ball really well. They shoot well, but they support one another real well too.
Yeah.
You don't have one main superstar carrying the load.
Right.
They spread it out.
It's awesome.
And then our 8th grade team, we had 8 girls, however, with injuries starting the season for one of them, and then one of them leaving town for a month with family, to go visit family out of the country. They had anywhere from 6 girls to 8 girls all season, and they finished well above 500. They lost a really close game on a last-second shot out at Geneva in the semifinal game. It was a heartbreaker for them. But the 2 groups of girls really support one another, a lot of good sportsmanship. So I'm really looking forward to having those girls come up to the high school to the
Right.
JV.
Yeah, for sure.
So you got a lot of good talent there. So we're looking forward to that.
Yep.
And then with that, then our wrestling teams wrapped up. And so I asked the coaches for their summaries there. And so the middle school boys, they had 14 wrestlers throughout the season, and most of them had little to no mat experience. Jackson Bezic and Matt Odorsic led the team with their experience, each having about 8 years of wrestling experience. They both had strong leadership skills and good work ethics that really helped carry the team through. A lot of the wrestlers began to gain confidence as the season went. They were coachable, worked hard, and improved. Luke Zanelli, Michael Kogar, Vanden Kovacs, and Wesley Peters really started to show a lot of progress on the mat as the season progressed. And then Evan Brubaker, Braden Rogers, Travis Cole, and Andrew Kissick really turned a corner late in the season and really started to show a lot of signs of improvement, which helped the team to a runner-up finish at the Brian Davidson Memorial Team Tournament held in Salem. And then for the CVC, they finished, I think it was, or maybe that was the girls I was thinking of. I can't remember how they finished in the CVC. Here it is. Placing for the Pirates was Jack Camper 6th, Andrew Kissick and Gavin O'Rourke 4th, Braden Rogers 3rd, Jackson Bezic 2nd, and then Vin Vojak, who unfortunately had a season-ending injury. They're looking forward to him, as a promising wrestler moving forward. And then our girls wrestling team, we had Cora Mann, 7th grader, Charlotte Lombardo, her very first time on the mats.
Right.
She switched from basketball. She was part of those 5 basketball girls that had been playing together for years. She decided she needed to break from basketball, came out, tried wrestling, did a really good job. She actually finished the season 10-11 with 7 pins.
That's awesome.
Cora Mann finished 27-14 with 24 pins. And then we had another 7th grader new, Reagan Laban. She finished 6-13 with 6 pins. So they did a really good job coming out there and representing Perry and girls wrestling very well. And a big thanks to Teresa Dominish for stepping in and kind of taking the charge there with our girls wrestling program and being a real good support and encouragement, helping pull the girls wrestling program to a good successful year this year.
Yeah, and it's about experience, and like you said, with Charlotte as the example, her first year doing it, we're going to come across that a lot of different as we continue to try to build girls wrestling. We're going to have girls that have not wrestled in the past, and even the boys. You said a lot of first time, and that's what middle school sports is about, trying to get kids into something maybe that they haven't tried before, just to give it a shot and see. And so I'm happy to hear that success. It's awesome, and we'll continue to build those numbers on the girls' side.
Yeah, and then our boys basketball to wrap up our middle school athletics. Our 8th grade team right now sit at 7-4, and our 7th grade is sitting at 10-1. Both teams are really good. Tryouts, were very hard. We had 20-some kids.
Brutal.
The talent that we have in both grades is very promising for our program. It was really hard to make cuts. Especially at the 8th grade level, because a lot of the kids were really close on that bubble. But they are working very hard. We actually, just to give a shout out, because I think it says a lot about character and their drive, is Santino was offered a practice spot. And Santino comes to every practice, comes to the game, and he's working hard.
Yeah.
He's going to be an asset to the varsity program moving up. But the great thing with this 8th grade group, they've outscored their opponents 457 points to 251.
Wow.
And a lot of team-oriented basketball with the 12 players that are on the team. They've had 7 of their 11 games with a different leading scorer.
Okay.
So
Good.
7 of the boys
Good
stepping
share.
up from, Landon Durham, Nolan Andrew Jack, Clay French, Chase Harris, Adam Steverding, Caden Morton, and Camden Guesswich all taking that leadership role there at one point or another. And then our 7th grade team, very unselfish, sharing the ball, getting the ball passed around really well. And their big leading scorers that kind of take charge is Jace Lander and Mason Burke. And Isaiah Wilhelt kind of really hits the boards. And then Jace and Frankie Santor they're really good 3-point shooters that really come out. And then we've got Adam Gustin, Harper Horton, Anthony Kukwa, and Jamison Porcello. And then other contributors, Nolan Albrecht, Vin Dodaro, Isaac Motes, and Graham Flenner. So we're actually looking, they were supposed to have a game today, which due to weather and schools getting closed, got canceled. But then next week, they're going to have 3 to 4 games. We have 3 regular season games left, but I'll be collecting all the standings for all the teams and getting the bracket out on Saturday. And then the 15th, we'll be hosting play-in games for some of the divisions.
Yep.
So, and then on the 22nd, we'll be hosting all 4 championships, 2 for 7th grade for the Lake Chagrin, and then for the Metro Valley, and then the 8th grade as well.
Yeah, the 15th and the 22nd of February, both Saturdays are going to be pretty packed.
Yeah.
With basketball.
So if you love
morning to
basketball,
night,
come
from
on
morning
up.
to night, both Saturdays. So
Yeah, you'll see a
great
lot of
stuff.
good basketball.
Yeah,
So,
well, and great. That's great news on the boys' side, and the numbers, are just way different than the girls' side. And those, like you mentioned, those cuts, not anything we want to do, but we can't have 18 kids. We'll never.
Right.
The quarters probably need to be longer in middle school basketball
Yeah.
than 6 minutes. There's just not enough time.
yeah, it's hard.
But it sounds like everything is really going well, and we wish those teams, if they're still, so boys basketball is still involved, and they've got their tournament, and I know the wrestling coaches were happy with what we did at the Twinsburg tournament. It's a brutal
Yes.
tournament, and we had
Yes.
some kids actually get on.
Yeah, I
and
think it
place
was
there and get
Jackson
into the second-
Fezzik and Max Dorsick were the
Yeah.
2 that were on the podium,
And
so they
that's
did really well.
to do that at one of the biggest meets in the state of Ohio at the middle school level says a lot. So
Yeah, and our basketball success, I tell you, Grant does a great job
yes.
because a lot of those boys and our girls spend a lot of time with Grant in the gym here, and then they'll follow him wherever he's at. So Grant has been a huge asset to the community for our basketball programs.
No, I agree. Grant's talk about passion and
Yes.
excitement for the sport and what he does. He lives it every day, and so we're very fortunate to have him involved in our programs all the way from top to bottom. So, all right, Mindy, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate the time, and great job down there. Keep it rolling, and we'll give an update here when the boys finish their season
Yes.
off. And before we know it, we're transitioning to spring sports and track and tennis, and we'll get you back on, and we appreciate your efforts.
Yeah, love it.
All right, thanks, Mindy. Mindy Allen, our middle school athletic director, and we'll see. Like I said, those 2 Saturdays will be packed with basketball. Middle school in the morning each Saturday, followed by boys or girls action in the afternoon. We're the host site for Division III girls district final on that Saturday, the 22nd. So we'll have middle school during the day. We're Division IV.
Yep.
For girls basketball. So hopefully we're off somewhere else playing in a district final that day, but we'll host the D3 here. And but yeah, we might as well start talking about our girls.
Yeah.
We're 14-5 overall, and we've had our tournament draw. We're the number 4, moved up to number 4 on top of the crop, which is probably more where we should be.
Yep.
Right there. And we finished 9th in the final rankings, those Martin RPI rankings that we talked about earlier with Nick. And that first playoff game will be at home against Akron Coventry on the 15th. That's going to be a 7 p.m. game. So again, we've got some middle school games here in the morning on the 15th. Boys JV at 3, boys varsity at 4:30, and the girls varsity will play in that sectional final matchup at 7 p.m. that Saturday.
And before we get into what the girls have been doing recently, back to this past Sunday with the draw.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that work? I know we've explained it a couple of times, but being 9th, so 8 teams in front of you, pick what division or what region.
Yeah,
division
so
they
there's
wanna be
5 different brackets that we could go on to. So out of 46 teams, there will be 5 different brackets, 5 district champs from Northeast Ohio. Now that sounds like a lot, but we're running teams from all the way from Columbus. I'm sorry, wrong city. Youngstown, all the way over from east to west, all the way almost up to like the Port Clinton, Lorain County area. And that we'll talk because we're playing Keystone. If we win, we're playing more likely than not LaGrange Keystone, far west side school in the next round. So it encompasses a huge area and 46 schools. And so, we were 9th. What makes it interesting, and not to get too far or too confusing, the top 10 schools can actually pass at some point as well. So in this case, I know Coach Infalvi said, I was running the girls' D1 meeting at the time, so I wasn't in it for it, but he said we had 3 or 4 different schools that passed because more likely than not, somewhere in the teens, just like I mentioned, Hawken on the boys' side, Hawken's ranked below us. I can see us passing and some schools ahead of us passing Why? Because they want to see where Hawkins going and not go there. So that's what was happening on the girls' side as well. So it makes it's a bit of a chess match, and trying to figure out where the best spot for us to go to give us the best chance to go as far as we can, and that's obviously the goal from the beginning of the season until now.
So if a team passes, how far do they wait to come in? They don't have to go all the way around 50 teams.
What makes it nice, and it makes it's the right way, because you know, in the eyes of the OHSAA, you've earned your spot. You know, if you're number 9, that's where you belong. So it gives you that right to pass. You can go right back on the next pick. So if we pass that number 9 as an example, and the number 10 team goes on the board, you know, we have the right to go back, and we can go. So if we wanted to play the 10th team, we'd go right back on and play them. So, so again, it's sort of a lot of strategy and that chess match behind the scenes, trying to figure out where teams are going to go and all of that stuff. So
maybe this is a better question for Coach next time we have him, but do you guys get together? Do you have a big board trying to predict, like, I think these 4 will go here.
We do.
If we can get over on this side, this might be our better route.
We definitely strategize on that, and I'm talking to coaches. You know, those are the 2 sports in the, you know, because when Brian was here with Coach Scheider, I mean, the times are the times, and you're going to go swim in your heat, and there's not much strategy involved. But definitely this, you want to strategize. You want to try to give your team the best chance for success. And so we look at that, and we certainly prioritize a favorable matchup for us, as opposed to, you know, where we have to travel for the district final. So like if we win our first 2 games, we will be in the district final, and that game will be at Akron North, not around the corner, not close, but that really doesn't matter to us. We think playing the opponents that we have the first couple of matchups, Keystone's 18-2. So they were the number 10 seed. So that'll certainly be tough. We like that it'll be here, because the higher seeded team hosts through the district semifinals now. So we'll host Keystone. That'll be Tuesday the 18th if we win on the 15th. So pretty quick turnaround, play Saturday night into Tuesday night for Keystone coming here if the seeds hold.
And you alluded to it a little bit earlier. The girls clinched a share of the CVC title last night with their win against West Geauga. But this is a team that 5-5 before the year turned over to 2025, but now on a 9-game win streak. 9 games in a row. Hats off to Coach Infalvi, Coach Austin, and Mindy, and the whole staff, Coach Infalvi Sr., and the girls. You know, I think they've really have certainly hit their stride, and they've sort of emulated what our goal is with all of our sports. To, you know, not that we want to lose or not play well or do things well at the beginning of the season, but the focus is to consistently build and get stronger each and every week. So when we're hitting this postseason time and the draws come around, we're there. And they certainly earned that number 9 seed, because we weren't number 9 when we were 5-5. Right.
You know, we were probably in the teens or early 20s out of 40-plus teams. And so they've certainly done a great job and come a long way from that first Richmond Heights game. And I think that's the if you look at sort of that pinnacle game of the year, it was that road matchup at Richmond Heights. They came in, shot the lights out against us that first game here, which is hard to do in our gym. It's very open, very airy. There's not, you know, a wall behind the basket. You know, it's a lot more. And Richmond Heights, give them credit. They came in, shot the lights out, and beat us. And, you know, so were we worried going into that game? Worried is probably not the right word, but motivated to sort of get our revenge. And we knew we would have to win that game to have a share of the CVC, which, by the way, I was talking to Coach Infalvi last night, like 8 out of 9 years, the girls have won the CVC. Edgewood beat us out last year for it. And so I know it was on one of our priorities this year. So they came out, had a great game plan that night against Richmond Heights, and played really well, shot the ball really well, defended really well, turned the ball over really well, all of those things, and we sort of ran away with it in that third quarter. It was like a 17-3 quarter for us, and that has, I think, just given us a ton of confidence.
No doubt. And with 3 games remaining, they Saturday they're going to be at Rootstown.
Yeah,
they're actually 3 road games before the playoff game, because of 2 makeups, one with Normandy, one with Edgewood, which is a snow day earlier in the year. But the the game on Saturday with Rootstown is going to be a big test because they're a number 1 in, I think, Division 5. So it's going to be a nice test.
It's going to be a great test. It's going to be a great matchup for Rootstown. For people who don't know, will be coming into the Chagrin Valley Conference next year. They replaced Cardinal. Cardinal left to go to the NAC. Just based on their size, they're getting smaller and smaller, so they match up better down there. But we're excited to bring Rootstown into the Chagrin Valley Conference. I think they've got very strong athletic and academic programs. They sort of fit very well with us. They're from Perry. They're out of the way a little bit. They're not the closest school, but they actually with some of the schools like Crestwood and Berkshire, and even from Chagrin Falls to Rootstown isn't a bad drive. So we're excited to have them in, and I know we're excited to go play there. And we're already working on next year's schedule. Next year's basketball schedule for boys and girls is almost complete. And so Rootstown will be coming back to us next year in that same time frame. So it's good to play that level of competition, right before you start that tournament run.
And the last winter sport that we haven't talked about is wrestling. We'll start on the boys' side first. I know you're heading down to Columbus tomorrow, but a nice showing last weekend in the dual meet with 2 wins, one over West G, then Benedict.
Yeah, we just crushed both of those teams, and hats off. I think this is taking nothing away from the dual teams we've had here in the past. We've been very strong, and we've had some studs, some state champion type wrestlers at certain weight classes and kids that place in the top 2 or 3 in the state. And we still could have that this year. We're just 1 through 14 weight classes. We're very, very strong at each and every one, where maybe in the past we've had a little gap or we have to give a forfeit up, and to give those points up in a dual match is huge. So now we have 1 through 14, and they just wrestled really, really well. It was an exciting day to host. We got to host it last week and beat West Geauga and then beat Benedictine, advancing to the state dual tournament again. The seeding came out yesterday. We are the number 3 seed out of 8 schools. So we'll have 8 schools down at Bishop Watterson High School and this weekend. And so we will wrestle the number 6 seed. If we win, we'll wrestle the number 2 seed, which will be Medina Highland. And then Watterson is the number 1 seed. And I like our chances. Our kids are going to go out there and compete their tails off, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And dual meet wrestling is a lot different than the tournament style that you see, where there's endless matches on 12 mats, and you're trying to figure out, all right, who's this match, and there's just constant stuff going on all the time. When it's a dual meet tournament, they'll have 2 or 3 mats there, but each match means so much. Whether you pin somebody, that's 6 points, or if you just defeat somebody, that's 3 points. If you win by 15, it's a technical decision, that's 5 points. So there's all these, again, a lot of strategy involved, and moving kids around different weight classes, and trying to find, again, that best matchup to give us ultimate success and win that duel, and it's head-to-head. It's just an exciting thing, and I'm so proud of our team and our coaches and our families. I know we've got a big contingent of Perry people, families, and fans in general of Perry Wrestling heading down to Columbus this weekend.
So let's say they win their first match, go on to the next one.
Yep.
Can you flip-flop some of your wrestlers, different weight classes? Okay, so you're not set in. Here we are in match 1, and we're riding this through.
You sure can, and that's the nice part. When you weigh in at a certain weight class for the day, you can certainly wrestle up. You can't wrestle below. Right. So if you're checking in at 106 pounds, the first weight class, you can wrestle up to 113. You just can't go down. Not there is one down below it, but you know what I mean. You can move up, but you can't move down what you weighed in at. So there's a lot of strategy involved. It's exciting stuff, and I know either way, no matter what happens this weekend, they've already represented us very well in a first-class manner. And I know we're going to do the same thing this weekend.
So after state duels this weekend, the team comes back. How does the rest of the month play out before you get to March and then the next?
Yeah, and then really, there's the OHSAA individual tournament will start to be our focus after this. We'll have a few other events going on to sort of, but all prepping for that sectional tournament, which for us is the last week of February. So we'll have this event. Not that, we're still practicing hard every day. We're going to compete in a few more events, but then that sectional tournament is where that individual, they still take a team score at the end. We could be sectional champs, we could be district champs, but it's all combined, and that's when the wrestlers move on. So they go from sectionals to districts, and then right from district to the state tournament. So that last weekend of February is sectionals, first week of March is districts, and then the state tournament in Columbus, like the 10th, 11th, 12th, something like that of March. That second weekend of March down in Columbus for those individuals.
And as Coach Dominic told us last week, girls, they were off. They were here supporting the boys in their duel, but they're back in action this week in Port Clinton.
Port Clinton on Sunday. So they're driving out. She said they're leaving 4:30 a.m. on Sunday, and wrestling there all day. And same focus for them at this point, where the sectional tournament is really going to be, and they host the boys and the girls sectional in the district and the state all at the same time. And I know a lot of our girls are really looking forward to putting that best foot forward and getting out of it, one step at a time, sectionals to districts. And I know we've got some that have eyes on that state prize as well, getting down to that state tournament. So an exciting time of year for sure.
Yeah, and another busy week for week 22, another winter, a season that's coming close to an end, but still plenty of time. As you mentioned, this is a Thursday we're taping. A lot of events going on for all the teams this weekend.
Yep.
And, the girls are on the verge for basketball of the postseason starting. The boys are, 2-3 weeks away from that beginning. It's getting down to that crunch time now for these winter athletes.
It really is, and it'll be exciting to update you every week. We'll be back here next week for week 23, and we'll be able to give everybody an update. But definitely a lot going on this weekend. We're excited for it, and join us whenever you can, wherever you find your podcast, whether it's Apple or Spotify. We're all over the place now, right? I mean, we should be pretty accessible to you, whether it's the video portion. We'll send this out on YouTube. Find us there, and we're looking forward to giving you some good results here as we come back to you next week.
Yeah, another exciting week and a lot going on, and plenty more to talk about when we reconvene next week.
All right, thanks for joining us, everybody. Until then, go Pirates.